appears to be that the 8-year-old is asleep. She takes the bedding and she covers the 8-year-old's face.
Did the 8-year-old wake up? Did she struggle at any point?
Yes, ma'am. There is a part in the video where we see her struggling.
Visiting relatives and spending time with cousins is something embedded in most African or even African American homes. While growing up, I remember we used to look forward to the Christmas holidays because that was the time we would travel to Grandma's home in our ancestral town. There we would spend a lot of time playing hide and seek, riding bicycles, and sharing lots of stories that sealed the bond with cousins whom we hadn't seen in a long while. They were fond, cherished memories for sure, but those were the days with no phones. Lately, children are normally seen to play with phones and other gaming gadgets. But can you imagine waking up to a murder at Grandma's house and only to find it's one of your little cousins you played with the previous day? Welcome back to Tavern Crime Chronicles. Here we explore mysterious, chilling, solved and unsolved cases, approaching them with empathy and extensive research. If you have the nerve for fascinating stories, this is your channel. So, grab a drink and hydrate while I take you through one of the most horrific, shocking, and disturbing murders ever committed. Today's story takes us to Humboldt, a city in Gibson and Madison counties, Tennessee, located in the southeastern part of United States. Humboldt is a small city situated on a total area of 9.7 square miles with a population of about 8,000 people. The town enjoys an evenly distributed, humid subtropical climate, and its population is multiracial, comprising of white, African American, Native American, Asian, Pacific Islanders, and others. But this friendly town where everybody knows everybody would witness one of the most disturbing, violent murders ever prosecuted. This is the story of Demaria Hollingsworth. Born on April 10, 2016 in Nashville, Tennessee to Rayana Smith and Delmark Hollingsworth, Demaria was the firstborn child and thus a ray of light in all of her parents' lives. She had an intelligent aura about her and a bright spirit in everything she did, which was portrayed in the straight A's she scored at Cockrell Elementary School. Her radiating warmth, energy, outgoing character, and loveliness enabled her to make friends easily with whom she loved to swim, read, ride her bike, and play with. While she had a little busy schedule, Demaria was a wonderful big sister, always looking out for her younger sister Ramya so that she felt loved and protected. Like many families who like to keep close ties with relatives, the Hollingsworth family thought it would be nice to send Demaria, then 8 years old, to Grandma's place during the school break so that she could spend time with her 12-year-old cousin who would also be visiting from South Carolina. Demaria and her 12-year-old cousin were inseparable. They played all day and hoped from one game to the other. It's not quite clear what happened, but the two fought over an iPhone and the 12-year-old was not happy with Demaria. It is not news that children always have small fights every now and then, so Grandma helped the two cousins reconcile and only hoped the conflict was over. But it was not over, at least not for Demaria's older cousin. Is your heart beating already, wondering what is yet to happen? Well, stay tuned to see how the story unfolds. First, make sure you've subscribed to the channel and as well like the video to help the channel grow. Thank you. As they prepared for bed after dinner, the 12-year-old devised a plan. The two shared a bunk bed with Demaria sleeping on the upper bed and her cousin on the lower bed. While they slept, the 12-year-old did not blink and waited to hear only silence, which meant that Demaria and their grandma were both quite asleep. Crawling stealthily out of bed, she climbed up onto Demaria's bed, gathered the bedding, and placed them on her head, covering her entire face. While exerting her full body weight, she suffocated the little Demaria, who had woken up and was trying hard to fight for her life, but her strength was no match for the 12-year-old. After what appeared to be minutes, the 12-year-old, noticing that Demaria was lying, still knew that she had died. She removed the bedding, got tissues and papers and cleaned her up, and then repositioned her body to appear like she was peacefully asleep. She then climbed down, got into her own bed, and slept like nothing had happened as her cousin's lifeless body was slowly getting cold by the minute. July 15th, 2024. Grandma woke up with her usual gentleness to make breakfast for the holiday makers who were in most cases already up and playing. The sun was already out, and it looked like it was going to be a bright day, but no one prepared her for what lay ahead. She called on to the girls to wake up and have breakfast, and only the 12-year-old came out mentioning that Demaria had refused to get up. Grandma reluctantly walked to their bedroom and asked Demaria to wake up, gently shaking her. She could not wake, and Grandma realized that she was cold. Unsure of what to think and careful not to rush to conclusions, she quickly called. An ambulance came within a few minutes, and the medics pronounced her dead on arrival. Grandma was in total confusion about what could have happened. Her home that had earlier been full of lively children was now a homicide. Police had arrived to look at the murder scene, and Demaria's lifeless body was later whisked away for a post-mortem. Grandma called her daughters with the horrific news, but despite the hysterical cries around the house, the 12-year-old was silent. Unbeknownst to her, there is no perfect murder. While the police searched the house, they realized that there were CCTV cameras around the house, and like luck would have it, there was one in the kids' bedroom. They requested to have it, and while viewing the footage at the station, they watched the horrific act unfold like it was a horror movie. They showed it to Grandma, who could not believe her eyes, for it was unimaginable. The 12-year-old was then taken into custody in juvenile detention and charged with first-degree murder and tampering with evidence. As the juvenile would be turning 13 years in few days, the District Attorney General, Frederick Agee, petitioned for the case to be moved from juvenile court due to its horrendous nature so that the girl can be tried as an adult. I cannot begin to imagine what the entire family is going through. Both families have lost their girls, though, in different ways. The pain and probably blame that Grandma must be feeling because the act took place at her home. But as I pondered through this case, several questions crowded my mind. What made the young 12-year-old girl think the best way to win a fight is to end someone's life? Where could she have learned that suffocating someone could kill them, and even how best to cover a crime? What kind of family is she being raised in? Could it be a violent home? Unfortunately, no answers can rectify the deed that was done, but as we mourn the bereaved, we only hope that they will find a little solace when justice for Demaria is attained, because there's no winners here. Demaria was a morning sunshine that was just rising, whose rays of light were unfortunately cut off by a very dark cloud forever. Some call it a senseless incident, others an accident, but I call it a tragedy, said Tamara Pullum, Demaria's grandmother, as she told WSMV-TV. And this here sums up today's crime and law story. Well, thank you for watching, and see you next time.